Good afternoon, folks. Here we are back at the Data Gang newsroom, where all the exciting news of the world passes through our mysterious equipment for all our anonymous, amorphous, and symbiotic viewers. Today, you may have noticed, the HISC hearings have taken the world by surprise, and soon we will have the entire story from Laser Paul, who is now behind his desk, diligently working under the influence of all the news of the world and a few other things such as cigarette smoke. Laser?
Hi, Laser Paul here. Again, we have the HISC hearings. That's the House Internal Security. They've come here from New York. It's such a terrible time in New York trying to stir up any type of trouble that they thought they could brew something up here in Ohio. Now, we should talk a little bit about the people who are in charge of this fiasco. We have Icord, which is a Democrat from Montana, who is the chairman, and Ashbrook, who is the Ohio senior conservative on this particular committee. You'll see today, well, Ashbrook couldn't make it to Ohio. Maybe he didn't want to present himself in this territory looking in that particular role, though I doubt that would bother him. We'll see Guys instead, who puts himself up as a local nice guy. And first, I think we should go down on the floor, because Frank Reilly, right now down on the floor, has some internal inside innovations that he would like to inundate right now and tell us what is going on. So I take you down to Frank Reilly.
Thanks, Laser. This is Frank Reilly on the floor here at the hearings. We're going to be going inside in just a moment and picking up on the activities of the day which have already started. We have a feeling that any minute now, one of the men from Washington is going to reveal to us just exactly what it is they've been after these last few days of pointless questioning and endless harangue. Now, as you may know, what we're dealing with here is prisoners. These are the people who, in our country's great delicate system of checks, imbalances, and injustices, have been incarcerated in one of our institutions of higher penology. Now, the question before the board here is whether these men and women who exist in subhuman conditions with absolutely no reading matter to expand their intellectual capacities, living on a diet of rat shit and old rice water, could actually work up the strength and the indignation to complain without the help of outside agitators. Back to you, Laser.
Thanks, Frank. That was really incisive, really concise. That's a lot funnier than what we're about to see now. Matter of fact, this is boring. We would show you a lot more of it, but we're sure it would just bore the hell out of you. Right now, we have Geyers talking to Cooper, who is the head of the Ohio Penn, and they're having really a boring conversation. Geyers and Icord have both been trying to get Cooper to say that there's some huge subversive underground network going on, and all Cooper can say is, well, you know, if there's something like that going on, why don't I know about it? You'd think that they would tell me, you know, or announce their intentions or something so they could recruit more people. But, you know, Icord, in the tradition of the House Internal Security Commission, which follows up the McCarthy and such, we'll get into that a little bit later. Now let's take you down onto the floor to get some vital points that are being made right now.
Okay. We have individuals who profess, however, to be part of the revolution.
Well, everybody ever professed that to me, to my knowledge.
You have no inmate to your knowledge that profess to be part of the revolution.
I don't mind that. I think they felt that we were wise enough not to say so.
Well, there are some of them who are not that wise. We have,
That's boring. Jesus. Whew, it's really hot in here. Oh, yeah, let me see. This is Laser Paul again, back at the Data Gang Studios, rather up here in the over the convention hall, and well, let me see. I thought I have nothing to say, so I better turn you over to Frank Reilly. Yeah, Frank, why don't you come in here and save me? Get me out of this, Frank. I'm kind of hungry.
Hello?
Frank?
Hello?
Am I on? Listen, and as you were watching, Cooper was being interviewed by guys, and they were getting nowhere, the two of them. You know, they have no means of communication whatsoever. They talk to each other.
This is Frank down on the convention floor.
Frank,
Can anybody
do you hear me? Sorry, Frank.
Coming in?
Really, Frank, this is Frank.
No, Frank Reilly.
Frank, is it still on? Hello.
Hello, Laser. This is Frank again, Frank Reilly. Things are getting really tepid here on the convention floor at the moment. People are pouring out of the hearing room in droves. They can't stand it. I can't stand it. Oh, yes, there was something I wanted to comment on. You may have noticed in that last question how Geyer removed his glasses and was no longer wearing them on his face or covering his eyes, such as people normally do with glasses, but was pointing at random, sort of to vague spaces around him. Now, you may have thought this was a nervous tic, but actually, this is a gesture of some symbolic significance. This has been going around at the hearings lately, which is hearkening back to those old nostalgic days. You know which nostalgic days I'm talking about, Laser. Perhaps none of our viewing audience does, but we know. When there was a lot more serious talk of subversives in the land, and it was said that, and I quote somebody, there are subversives under everyone's nose. Now, in removing his glasses, this was a reference to his nearsightedness, and in removing his glasses, he made it easier to expedite his own seeing of subversives right there under his nose. Perhaps you have some more to say about this, Laser. I'd like to get back to this thing I was listening to before. It's sort of a little, hot jazz, cool progressive, It's a little outdated now, but I'm into it. Thank you.
Do you ever see any of our old school friends?
Here we are back in the newsroom, folks. Data Gang newsroom. Things are getting very, very pressing in here as Laser Paul, Frank Reilly, and the rest of the crew are trying to get it all together here at the HISC hearings. Now we turn to Laser Paul for the inside dope. Come on, Laser.
This is Laser Paul. Well, that was a really frank comment, Frank, and I agree with you. I agree with you all the way. I have to say this: that the HISC hearings seem to be one in a series of hearings that are going on present time. This is the HISC hearings. You have to remember is kind of on a different level than we're witnessing in the Watergate hearings. The Watergate hearings, you're seeing.
Yeah, okay.
If you stick them like with a stick, they'll do it.
Yeah. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Got something. Pretty weird guys.
Come on. She's not feeling good.
In this particular hearings, you're kind of getting, well, perhaps the same type of people that were in the plumbers unit, and the type of people who who are trying to stir this thing up. I mean, you know, McCarthy went through this whole thing. You know, this was the un-American activities, and then they decided they had to get rid of that. That was just a little bit too heavy with McCarthy just acting crazy. Let me give you an example of the way he acted. I'm going to turn this on.
Passing that to McCarthy.
Part of the communist conspiracy. Are you enjoying this abuse of the general? Question, do you think stealing $50 is more serious than being a traitor to the country as part of the communist conspiracy? Answer, that, sir, was not my decision. Well, we go on with that for a while. I hate to impose on your time, but I've just got 2 pages. This is the abuse, which the real meat of the abuse. This is the official reporter's record of the hearing. After he said that he wouldn't remove that general from the army who murdered a communist major, I said to him, then, General, you should be removed from any command. Any man who has been given the honor of being promoted to general and who says, I will protect another general who protects communists is not fit to wear that uniform, General. I think it is a tremendous disgrace to the Army to have to bring these facts before the public. But I intend to give it to the public, General. I have a duty to do that. I intend to repeat to the press exactly what you said so that you can know that and be back here to hear it, General. And wait till you hear the bleeding hearts scream and cry about our methods of trying to drag the truth from those who know or should know who covered up a Fifth Amendment communist major. But they say, oh, it's all right to uncover them, but don't get rough doing it, McCarthy.
Really here, we're going to bring you a little inside human interest on the story this time. Talk to some of these folks who are around here and find out what's really happening in this country. Pardon me, would you care to talk to us for a moment?
What are you doing? I've been wondering.
Well, we're just trying to find out something about these questions that everyone's been talking about for the past eon. And what we're specifically wondering is if you're subversive.
Oh, no.
No, you've never engaged in any subversive activities.
I can't really say that.
You can't really say that?
No.
What can you really say?
In what time of my life?
Oh, any time of your life. See, we're trying to determine if there actually is a subversive activity going on anywhere. We keep hearing about them. We're trying to uncover them.
You mean right or left?
Of any sort.
Of any sort?
Anything you may have ever cared to subvert.
Yes, I do think there probably are things like that going on.
What do you think they're doing?
I'm not paranoid. Let's see, what do I think they're doing? What do you want to start with?
Actually, we want first-hand experiences, you know. If you or anyone you've ever heard of or been connected with has engaged in anything that would subvert anything of any sort.
Well, I could say that my ex-husband was a psychological warfare officer, and he used to engage in things with Gerald L.K. Smith in Los Angeles.
What sort of things?
Does that interest you?
I'm not sure.
Well, he was sort of spying for the Air Force, semi-spying, and one time he walked into a household in Los Angeles, and in the entrance hall was a picture of Jesus, General Douglas MacArthur, and Gerald L.K. Smith.
That's terrifying.
Really? Do you think it is?
Now, if it had been Jefferson,
Well, Thomas
Lincoln
Jefferson's
and Teddy
a whole
Roosevelt.
other story. Do you want to go into Jefferson?
No, I think actually I'd better move along. You've been most edifying,
Oh, I'm sure you're terribly thrilled.
I hope that you'll give us a call whenever you have any more inside information like this, you know.
Oh, I don't
We're
think
always,
I shall.
we in the media are always trying to, you know, get in there ahead of the government whenever we can.
I thought Gerald L.K. Smith might be. Yeah. I'd throw it in.
Well, you never
that was
can
a
tell.
long time ago.
There might be some trivia experts in our audiences,
Where in
you
the
know,
world is this thing
may
going to
mean
be?
something.
Smile.
No one knows what happens after
It's a Sony.
after
It's a
it
good
goes it past the lens. Nobody knows what happens after
Is
that.
it going to be on WOSU or, just subversive? Well, now here, Mr. Smith is very good. Here, talk. Why? No, you're being interviewed. Get up.
Yes, I'm sure.
No, talk.
Are
to
you
him.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, I'm Mr. Smith.
Are you actually?
Yes, yes.
Well, we're looking for warm human interest stories having to do with secret subversion in our land. We were just wondering if there really are any subversives and if you might happen to be one.
Why do you think my name is Smith?
That's a good point.
Well, we know white is suspect because it's the opposite of black.
Well, could you give us any sort of insights into what sort of activities subversives actually engage in?
Things like underground theater.
Yeah.
What else?
Go on.
Just underground.
Just underground. Does this include like underground railways,
Oh, absolutely underground.
sewer systems?
And underground press.
Yes.
All very good.
Bomb shelters?
Bomb shelters. Yes, if they're underground.
Anything underground.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, well, thank you very
Well,
much.
it's
You've been quite helpful to us.
been a great pleasure.
If we can ever help you subvert anything, please get in touch.
I'll give you my address later.
Thank you. Let's see. I'm surveying the crowd for likely prospects. Pardon me, would you care to say a few words for our cameras? We're here in correlation with recent HISC hearings, and they were speaking of the possibilities of subversion in the prisons, and we're just sort of following people about and trying to find if there really are any subversives anywhere that, you know, within close reach. And so we were wondering if you might just happen to be a subversive.
Oh, no, I don't think I'm a subversive. It depends on what you'd like subverted.
Well,
If you'd like your standard ideas subverted, I'd probably be glad to help you.
well, that sounds pretty risky right there. Do you do this sort of thing often?
If someone asks. I don't
Well, I guess
seek out people to
I
subvert.
guess voluntary subversion isn't the same as, you know, sneaky, straight-out, forceful subversion.
Oh, no, I think probably it would be fair to say that I've subverted a number of people in my time. I think, by and large, they've been grateful.
I see. Well, as a semi-active philanthropic subversive, then, what sort of things do you most enjoy subverting?
Male chauvinist pigs.
Could you describe some of your methods or, you know, favorite little tales of subversion?
Yes, I think that by and large, many men find that they're only meeting one kind of women. I think this is true, especially of young men. They are used to high school girls who deliberately make an effort not to look bright. I think it's an enlightenment to find girls who think for themselves, who have other ideas than the ideas that they've been brought up with.
I see. Have you ever been arrested for these views?
No, I don't think they're illegal yet.
Well, that's good. Good luck to you. Okay. Let's see. We aren't finding very many hardcore subversives here. Here's a sleazy-looking character. Tell me, what's your connection to these hearings here?
Well, I'm
This must be something big.
secretary. I was taken on under the Hire the Handicapped Youth program, and now it's the Hire the Women Handicapped program. So I'm still on 2 years later. As you probably have realized, these whole hearings are a ploy. The prisoners are a ploy. I-Court and the House Internal Security Commission are using these poor people again, and I think that I would like to put a stop to it. And I plan to do that when I run for election of the Congress of the 7th District next
Well, just
November.
what is this man like that you're working for here?
Oh, he's incredibly horrible. He's fat, for one thing. He doesn't eat well.
He is fat.
He doesn't eat well.
Yes,
and
he's sloppy. I noticed he has bulges under his eyes also.
He does. You should see what he puts inside them.
How's he get his eyebrows
He trips
to do that
on
funny
chemicals
thing?
inside of his eyes. He's horrible. He's horrible. He's against everything that I hold sacred. Right on, women.
Another encouraging report from the hearing floor. Now, back inside. Can you hear it? All the way? That's pretty good.
That guy is weird, you know, McCarthy. Those were great interviews. Those were good. Did you see those ladies? God. Next on the agenda, yes. So we did McCarthy. We put McCarthy in. Did I show you the one yet where we switched from that guy's face to a billy goat? You know, if I showed you that. Let's see.
No.
I haven't seen that one yet? We'll have to.
An organization with the name of Ohio Prisoners Labor Union.
Yes, sir.
What is that organization?
Well, it was formed, I believe, in April. And there's an outside group and an inside group that are trying to improve conditions the way they see them in Ohio prisons. While they, from what I've heard, they're interested in raising the pay and of inmates to the minimum wage. They're interested in changing the parole procedures. These are the only two areas that I'm real familiar with.
That would be.
People call them horse nettles. We've always referred to them as stinging nettles. They sting really bad. When
Advisor for Florida and Ralph Pittenger, an inmate institution.
Take that second page and ask you to identify that part of the exhibit, please.
This is a sworn statement by Kelly D. Chapman giving full authorization for certain information, for certain people to represent him in legal matters pending before the courts of Ohio and legal pleas.
Who are the individuals appointed to represent him or authorized to represent him?
Robert Carl Handelman, the National Lawyers Guild, the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland, Mr. Raymond Toohey, Mr. Leonard Schwartz, Ohio Civil Liberties Union of Columbus.
All right, now, this is the third part of the document. Is that a news release? Would you please explain what that is?
Yes, I believe this is a news release that was put out by the Advisory Board of Prisoner Helper Incorporated.
What is a Prisoner Helpers Incorporated? Do you know?
No, sir.
Who they are?
Yes. Well, you may have noticed that last move where he asked the gentleman to turn his page rather than coming over and doing it himself when he wanted it turned. That's another instance of that separation of prowess we've been hearing. So, pardon me, I seem to have some sort of bad connection here.
At the HISC hearings, we saw something from the WHAC hearings, and what comes next? Oh yes, what comes next? I understand they're going to have some hearings in Washington. The HISC is going to have hearings in Washington. They're not even going to get the local people a chance to come in and see what's going on about their thing. You know, I'm tired. I hope the hearings are over. I'm really getting tired of doing hearings. Politics, you know, sometimes can get your thing up because you know the heavy thing that they can put on you. They can just come down on you, you know, really fast, take you away to the army. Take you away to the army, and you know where you go. Everybody knows now. They can take you to jail, you know, things that to you are just a part of your existence, you know. They can take you to jail. We're having a conversation.
Back now.
Are the things over? The hearing over?
I had to leave, man. I went out and
Couldn't
got a pizza. I had to pry those headphones off, you know.
Fuck.
They were growing into my head.